Hey everybody, we are here for some more Arkham Horror, the card game set reviews, scenario reviews, rather. And what are you doing over here? It's not your time yet.
Soon.
We're doing the scenario reviews for the Dunwich Legacy deluxe expansion. And we're starting with the two House Always Wins and Extracurricular Activity. We're kind of reviewing... When we review one, we're going to kind of review the other because these can be played in either order and they kind of change the result and difficulty of the two. So we're going to start with just we'll start with the House Always Wins because that was the one that Travis said was on top for the order. So that's the one we're starting with. House Always Wins is the one where you go into the casino, bar, club thing.
La Bella Luna, I think it's called.
And you have to sneak. You need to gamble your way into the back rooms and
try and rescue which professor is that one?
The other one, not that one. The other one. You know
It's
what
like
I'm
the one that
talking
makes
about.
you kill things better, right?
Yeah, Dr. Francis Morgan, the archaeology guy.
Yeah, and he's in there gambling, and then halfway through the night, a bunch of weird spheres show up, and you gotta deal with them. So this one, I remember when we played the first time. I love the theme, and I still like it. It's one of the ones that Travis is correct. Whenever we play a scenario, I'm always like, that one's really fun.
Yeah.
But this one, it stands with me. I still think it's really fun, and the theme is great.
It's very flavorful. If there's any criticism I kind of levy against it, is that sometimes you just get screwed out of a win because you draw poorly.
Yeah, well, that's what gambling is, right?
Yeah, you can't win every time. Otherwise, it's not gambling.
So what are some of the locations that kind of... Why don't you throw me some of the locations, and we'll kind of just put them up on the screen.
Yeah, there's like the club room.
The Clover Club Room, which they all kind of go with the same kind of thing where it's about gambling. So this one is you spend 2 resources, reveal a random chaos token. If it is the Elder Sign symbol, you gain 2 clues and 2 resources from the token pool. And if it's an even number, you gain 2 clues from the token. And if it's an odd number or an evil symbol, nothing happens. So you're gambling. And that's kind of the thing for all of these.
I mean, that's the only one you can like continually get clues at, and that's how you have to spend most of your time in the
Clover Club Lounge, which is discard an ally asset from your hand to gain 2 clues. Do you give someone away to the mob? Is that like the flavor there? You're just like, here, take Leo DeLuca.
Yeah,
here,
probably.
I'll sell you this beat cup.
Yeah, and they're like,
we don't want him
Cup's
here.
like, please God, don't do this to me. And then there's also you can remember you had a drink. That's another one you can do.
If memory serves, that's like not usually a good choice.
And I also remember that you can cheat, right? And cheating adds a squid token to the bag or something like that.
Yeah, it makes it harder in the long run. So
yeah, which it makes sense if you want to cheat for the individual game now, and then at a cost later. That's kind of if you cheat the mob, they're gonna fuck you up with chaos tentacle squids apparently.
Because that's what they do.
There's also some asshole walking around in the beginning patrolling the place.
Well, yeah, the pit boss. You make sure no one's cheating.
Yeah.
All the criminal enemies in this one have aloof until you get to the second act, I believe, or like you start hitting one, which makes sense.
And yeah, so what he does is after investigating the Clover Club pit boss's location gains any number of clues. He readies, engages that investigator, and makes an immediate attack. I think the flavor for this one is like a home run because he's patrolling around. You're standing outside, so he comes to join you outside, and he's like, "What are you assholes doing?" You go inside, he starts following you around. Goes for the person.
Not regular. He's like, "You guys are gonna come up at my club and count cards and stuff."
Goes for the player that looks the smartest. So he's gonna, and then he attacks you if he sees you winning because he's all like, "Hey." It's probably like he starts with like an uncomfortable grab on the shoulders and a squeeze, and he's like, "How you doing? You doing good?" And then then he starts beating the shit out of you when the bad shit starts happening.
Yeah, no, he like provides an important game mechanic as well as having only so many people can be like gambling and exploring the club in general, and it forces you to have someone also like moving around, dragging him away from the people who are actually gambling, right?
Which is actually quite easy to do because most of these don't require...
you just like walk away.
Yeah, and it's like you can be like, all right, you have the highest book, you're going to be our...
It does mean you're effectively gambling with one less person.
Yes, yeah.
So,
I imagine this one... Have you ever played this one solo?
Yes, quite a few times.
Is it more difficult with just him following you around and not having a distraction, or do you just kind of have to like constantly change what you're doing as you play?
It's like, it's not too bad. Really, this scenario just comes down to like how lucky you get gambling. Like if you get in the first 2 or 3 ones, like great. But if it takes too long, you usually lose or do very poorly.
And then after a little bit, some monsters show up, and they're these weird sphere guys, which...
Yeah, there's some it's one of these, a conglomeration of spheres or a servant of the lurker.
So yeah, like both of these are here to kind of just foreshadow that Thoth is the one that we're dealing with, and he's going to be there at the end of the night to make sure your day is horrible. And
they're both relatively tough, to be honest. I think the conglomeration of spheres is a bit tougher.
Because he eats your
melee
weapons, yeah.
Which, I mean, isn't such a big deal these days, but back when this first came out, the premier weapon was machete.
Yeah.
And, like, that meant you didn't want to lose your machete, you needed that for hacking up mobsters. So you just had to, like, actually punch this thing to death.
Yeah, it does only have one fight, though, which makes it very easy to just punch it to death.
I think that was a bit of a design decision on their part. It makes book characters a little bit more relevant in this scenario.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sometimes you get to play double or nothing, which I think also came in this.
I think so.
I think it was
That
this
sounds
set.
right.
I mean, if it didn't, that's a flavor lose, because this would be the set to release it in. Yeah.
Double or nothing in a vicious blow, and you just kill it in one go.
Also, in this scenario, if you play it first, you have the opportunity to save Mr. Clover here when the monsters show up. If you do it second, you're too late, and he's dead. That being said, this guy's super hard to save if you don't know what's coming. Like, he spawns on the space with the monster, and if he ends the turn, and like the act deck says that, or the agenda deck rather says that like each mobster that ends their turn in a space with one of the monsters just die, or with an abomination is what they're called, just dies. And so you don't want that to happen.
You don't want that to happen, because there's the benefit of then you get the gang on your side for the future, right? If you're able to
It's
save
relatively minor, but like it's an advantage, and you need most of your advantages.
It's better than having those guys show up later and try to beat your guys to death with a lead pipe.
That happened to me. I got stuck in the river, and the guy was just beating me to death with a pipe in the river, and I was like, "No, please stop!" And he was like, "You think you fuck with the Albanian thugs?" And he's just beating me down. And then you can also go to the back room. What are those rooms like? Just so I can refresh my memory.
Oh, there's the darkened hall.
Yeah, because it opens up
Which
into
is
like
just an intermediary.
and then it opens up into 3 back rooms, right?
Yeah, backroom doorways. Our friend Francis Morgan is in one of them, the VIP area. And basically you need to collect him from the VIP area and get out the back alley.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of like a nice little flavorful thing of just there's the back of the club, and I like the back alley as an escape, and more just another way to just, you need more clues, so you got to get more clues. But neither of these are really, I mean, after you fail a skill test while investigating the art gallery, you lose 2 resources. It just takes a lot of time, I guess. Like, resources to me are such a weird concept in the game that I still don't really know the theme of them. Like, are they money? Are they connections? They're kind of like everything, right?
Yeah.
They're like a catch-all.
They're just resources.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's definitely one of the things that they definitely have, like, function over form for them. It's much more important that they're there for the gameplay of the game than to make sense thematically.
Yeah.
I think the game has enough other points going for it in the theme that it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a... Well, in the VIP area, you cannot draw cards or gain resources during the upkeep phase.
All in all, this is a relatively easy scenario, I think.
Yeah.
And because of the abundance of victory things, between the Servant of the Lurker being worth 2, I think.
He's
One.
worth 1.
Yeah, and then these each being worth 1. The Clover Club Pit Boss is worth 1, and you get some at the end of the...
Yeah, and these ones are also very easy to investigate with only 1 per investigator.
Yeah, you definitely... It's good to spend a couple extra turns here.
Yeah.
Pick up a bit of experience for your
Yeah, because it's even not that stressful. None of the enemies are really too hard. Like, the thugs are probably, like the big guys are hard because, they have the unique abilities, but the thugs don't really...
They're just like guys.
Yeah. They die quick.
They only have 2 health, which means, like, you can machete them to death.
Yeah, because as we were saying, I think before the recording, there's in Lord of the Rings, there's a card called Asphalov that would put 2 progress on a location. And then after a while, they started releasing locations with 3 at least, or multiples of 3. And they learned early that 2 is on average, the damage you should be dealing for an attack in this game. So every time you see someone with 3 or more, 2 health is like, oh, this guy's squishy. He's done. He's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the Servant of the Lurker has 5, which you'll need to spend more resources than just, 3 attacks to kill him. Yeah. If you want to do in less than 3, you'll need to commit more to it.
Yep.
So the theme of this one, let's start there. Out of a 5, I also I was watching the old videos of this, and our rating system was so weird, where we have like our overall not match anything else. So once again, this isn't like the overall is kind of just our overall rating, not taking the 3 other things in
I think
comparison.
fun and difficulty are more analytical, and overall it's just kind of like how we feel about it in
Yeah.
general.
That's a very good way of putting it. So the theme of this one, what do you guys think?
This one's a solid 4 or 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I also think we're going to give it a 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Cool. Just because like when the guys show up at the end, it's neat. Like, but it also kind of just then it falls apart into like the hacky slashing madness one, which isn't a bad thing. But I just feel like the first half is a home run, and the last one's like all bases loaded.
It's pretty generic, yeah.
Yeah. What about the fun? Do you think this one's fun? The luck factor is a problem.
Yeah, I think this one would be probably like a 2 or 2.5 for fun. Like the first half can be fun, but there's definitely some frustrating elements to it with the gambling, and with if you don't know where Peter's gonna show up and he just like immediately dies, you're like, great.
There's nothing we could have done.
Yeah.
I think this one's more fun if you play it thematically as opposed to playing it analytically. Right?
I think it's also more fun like in subsequent playthroughs.
Yeah. Because I remember like when we would come through, we were having a fun time just joking because one of us was gambling. Someone else was running around attacking gang members with their
monsters, yeah.
dog, right? And like...
It's good times.
But
Someone.
yeah, overall, I would also probably give it a 2.5. That's where I'm kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Bryn?
Yeah, I'd probably give it somewhere around a 3. Like I enjoy most of them, but
I think the fun for this one is definitely colored by your first experience.
Yeah,
Like,
I
we'd
could
be a
agree with
lot
that.
more critical of it if we got screwed by the gambling the first time we played, and we're like, this is just luck based.
So then what if we just give it 50%?
Okay.
Because that's lucky?
What?
It's a coin flip? I don't know. How about difficulty for this one?
This one's like a 2.
yeah, the majority of the difficulty in this scenario stems from trying to get whoever's carrying Dr. Francis Morgan and or
Yeah. Out.
Yeah. Most
Peter
of the
out of the building.
I argue most of the difficulty is actually just like related to card pool and game knowledge, as opposed to actual mechanics in the scenario, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So then if we do overall, once again, overall feeling, how do you feel about this one? Like, to me, this one, yeah, why did I open that? That's not what I need to open.
I'm feeling like a 3.5 for this one for overall.
I would feel the same about that. There's definitely better, but there's definitely,
Yeah, it's definitely like, it's up there, but it's not the best. There's just too many randomness elements and too many like potential feel bad moments in this one. So.
Yeah, probably. I'd probably feel differently about it if I had somebody other than Travis drawing chits out of the bag.
Yeah, Travis is very good
So-
at random luck, so he's the person you want to bring into the casino and count cards with you, because, he can't do that, but he'll be really good at just winning.
I'm not
still.
sure I want that published in the tested.
So yeah, here's the house always wins. Just this one, it's a good one. It's like 3.5 overall. No complaints. Nothing bad with that. So why don't we get to extracurricular activity while I reset this stuff.
Sure. Extracurricular activity. This one happens in the school. You show up. We're talking about, assuming you're doing it first, show up and there's like something going on maybe in the alchemy labs and stuff. So locations are just like the variety. It's just the university. You got the quad. You got like the humanities building. You got your library. You got like your student union, dormitories, administration building, faculty offices, science building, alchemy labs, and different faculty offices that change depending on what order you did this in.
One thing I remember, I know from this one, and just after playing the new Path to Carcosa stuff, they got a lot better at implementing the mythos into a scenario.
Yeah.
Because this one, and even the House Always Wins, it's kind of just, you're doing something, and then some random shitty monster shows up, right? Or with Path to Carcosa, you're fighting the craziness, right? And
Yeah, for these ones, the acts and agenda decks are basically just counters.
Yeah. It's less of like a, there's no cohesion to like what's happening in this one, but it gets better as it goes on. Like as soon as you get to past the train and you start to get to Dunwich, it makes sense.
Once you're done doing like the Armitage fetch and carry quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like right now, it's kind of just you're doing something bad. You're doing something for your mission, and a monster shows up, and it's weird because hey, it's Lovecraft, right?
Yeah. For this one, the Mythos deck is actually a little bit rough. You get your first. It's a lot more thematic for the Dunwich legacy as a whole than the House Always Wins is. House Always Wins is basically just introducing the O'Banion gang, which doesn't play quite as big a role as you might be led to believe initially.
Yeah.
This one gives you your first introduction into the Whippoorwill.
The Whippoorwills, they're just they're aloof hunters, so they'll follow you around and sing their evil song, and they won't engage you, so you have to spend an action to do it, and they lower all your stats by 1. So they're assholes.
They're assholes.
But they have cute names that are fun to say. So can you really hate them?
And then the other one, or the other set that makes this mythos kind of difficult is the all-time favorites, Ancient Evils.
Oh yeah, the
one that,
ticking clock to show that you can never be.
Yeah, you add a doom.
Yeah, you
can never be sure how long you actually have.
So Ancient Evils, if you don't know, they just add a doom to the agenda, and it can force it to advance.
I definitely played this solo one time, and like two-handed, but by myself. And usually how I do them when I'm trying to figure them out is I'll play through the scenario several times to get a feel for what I think an average result is, before I move on to the next one, because it's easier than playing the whole campaign over and over again. But definitely had times where you draw 4 Ancient Evils in a row, and you're just guess I'll lose.
Yeah, yeah. The locations, they kind of they're...
For this one's all about making decisions, and it really kind of sets up for the late game.
Yeah.
You basically have 3 options. You can go save assuming you're doing this first. If you're doing it second, you have less options. But doing it first, you can go save.
Both of them, though.
Yeah.
Whichever one you do second is less good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can either go save Professor Warren Rice, Professor of Languages, who's the guy who's here, or you can save the students from the experiment that's running around, or you can kill the experiment, which also saves the students.
Yeah.
But saving the students and killing the experiment, I think, are the 2 supposed to be good scenarios, because they're the ones you don't have the death of the students on your conscience.
And then this asshole, that's an alchemical concoction. No, the guy you're supposed to save, sent by Armitage, he gets kidnapped unless you actively save him, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Unless you do it first, or is it still the same result?
You have to do it first.
Yeah.
You can only get that resolution if you do this one first, just like in the other one.
Okay.
You have to do that one first to save the guy. This one introduces a common theme that they're going to use a lot later in having an ally, a neutral ally, who sort of gates a lot of locations to you.
Which I think
as a way to advance the story. It's a good one, but
it's a good mechanic and good flavor. The theme of it's really good because you can't get in someplace unless you have this guy with his key.
This is just the first notable instance of it.
And also, it kind of puts a little stress on him because if you kill him, you add stuff to the chit bag to make it harder.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to keep him around and protect him, so it feels like
So then the big baddie for this one is the experiment. Something went terribly wrong. And the other special card for this, the alchemical concoction.
So is this Lizard from Spider-Man? Some scientist was just making stuff, and then he drank a potion, and then...
He's got victory too, which is a lot.
Which is a lot.
Oh, doctor, why don't you cure cancer instead of doing all this weird lizard research? And he's like, I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Yeah, I want to be a lizard.
Okay.
He gets +3 health per investigator. And when the enemy phase begins, you ready him. So even if you evade him, he's going to, move, attack, and make it a nightmare. Because he basically he's just programmed his AI to move towards the dormitories, right?
Yep. If he gets there, then you get a bad resolution. The relation between this one and the House Always Wins and the alchemical concoction is that the alchemical concoction is there as a balancing aspect to the experiment, because when you play this one first, you have several turns until the experiment shows up. But when you play the other one first, he shows up much quicker, but the alchemical concoction is ready to use. Whereas if you play the other one first, or if you play this one first, you never get the alchemical concoction. So it's a nice sort of fallback on their part.
That is cool. Yeah, because I've done each one first once, so I'm not too knowledgeable on the changes and difference, but that's pretty cool.
That's the only really big one for this one.
Do you guys even remember what we did with the experiment when we played? Did we kill him? I feel like that's something Bryn did. I feel like Bryn would kill that guy.
I think we killed it once, and then one other time we saved the students.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think the first time we played, we tried to kill it and didn't have enough damage.
Yeah, and we're like, this is hard.
And it was like, okay, like go warn the students.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
But
And then the second time, we definitely killed it
Yes. Yeah, I remember now.
because like the fire axe is really strong.
Yes. So then, how are we feeling about the theme for this one?
Just a quick note. This
Oh,
is
sure.
also fulfills the same role as the host always wins. That if you're playing it first, it's a good one to take your time with a little bit and collect all the victory. The experiment's worth 2. There's 3 or 4 locations here that are worth 1 each, and plus you get like 3 or 4 at the end. So it's a good way. It's a good choice on their part, in my opinion, to give you the ability to kind of jumpstart your deck.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with the next couple scenarios not giving you quite so much. But yeah, so theme.
In my opinion, I feel like the theme in this one is they're just locations. Apart from Jazz, Jazz the janitor.
There's nothing that feels really schooly about it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel that thematic.
It's not great.
Yeah,
I'd probably give it like a 2, I guess.
I'd go for a 1.5. So we'll let Bryn be the final.
Oh, no.
Say. Bryn says 5, and then
5.
we're like,
Justin has to do math.
No, I'd probably rate this one fairly low as well. I think it has a less of a theme than even the first one, where you're just stuck in your own house and you can't find the doors because you built a house without doors. You idiot.
Why would you do that? And then you're upset when you burn it down.
Yeah.
It's not bad,
this
there's
one
just
is,
nothing special.
Yeah.
I think this one is like less thematic than most of those ghoul ones are, especially the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 1.5 or a 2 or something like that.
1.5 sounds good.
1.5 it is. Boom.
For
Eat
fun, I'd put this one on probably like a 3, 2.5, 3. It's pretty average.
Yeah.
I think this one's less fun than the other one.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, like the other one has the potential to be really fun, but also potential to be very frustrating. Whereas this one's just, you just do it.
Yeah, you just like wander around until the monster shows up, and then you make a decision and end the game.
No, I mean, like this one, the reason I give it a 2.5 is just, it's not like especially fun, but there's nothing like frustrating or not fun about it.
Yeah, no, I would also probably wager a 2 and a 2.5 on that one as well. Yeah.
There's nothing exceptional, but it's not like actively bad, so.
Look at this one because it's a coin flip, I guess. You know the rules. Look at that.
Difficulty.
Difficulty. I mean, like, I think this one's difficulty really depends on the time of day you encounter
They
it.
both do kind of. I think this one's also what we give Host Always Wins too.
I think so.
I think they're both the same.
Yeah, the monster in this one's harder to kill, but the flip side of that is you don't actually have to.
Yeah, and there's also like only one, whereas you can potentially draw more of these. I think.
There's
I'm not
2
I think you
spheres.
can I think you can draw the spheres again, also because they don't have a
Yeah,
a
they go
victory
back to the
score, right?
deck,
so they go
so-
back into the deck. So you might have to kill them more than once.
But like we did agree on the
But-
point that this is a good one to dirtle around in. So.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I feel like the experiment, like, if someone wants to kill it, makes it a little bit harder. So I kind of want to put that in mind just for the difficulty. If you want to go for, like, the full kill to get, like, the really cool ending.
Mm-hmm.
We give House Always Wins a 2? Right? We give it a 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. I say 2, 2.5. I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, 2's fine. This one's a little bit easier than the Host Always Wins, just because you're less likely to get screwed, and there's less like game knowledge associated with it, right? You don't have to know. You have to be on what's his face, Pure Clover space.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of play it, and things happen.
What do we think overall for this one?
This is 2, 2.5 for me. It's
Yeah.
nothing special, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I would go with 2 because I definitely think this is a below average scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
agree.
It's just
I don't
seeing what they
think
can
there's much
do,
going on.
especially now in the future. I feel like.
This one was really good. One thing this one was really good at was introducing mechanics into the game.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that. You can definitely see that they were like, okay, so we're gonna do a nice, like, simple kind of skeleton and play around with it.
Yeah.
Right. As opposed to trying too many.
Introducing
New
the
things.
having a character unlock other locations for you, and then the Mythos deck has like 8 different sets in it.
Yeah.
Which seems like a lot, and it kind of is, but they do a very good job at generally introducing the themes of the Dunwich Legacy.
And it also has a very different kind of boss fight than what we've seen so far
Yeah.
in the game, right?
So
Yeah, so that's for the Dunwich Legacy box set, which, you know, this one's kind of a bit different in comparison to a lot of story-based co-op games because you kind of want the deluxe set to do the whole campaign. So if you're going to be buying them, you're probably going to be buying them all.
You should probably start with this one regardless. It has a lot of really solid cards in it. You have 5 investigators. It's good value for your.
But then again, you can still always play these all standalone as well, which I'm sure there are people who do that. So especially for Mythos pack reviews, that's going to be more of a thing. If someone's like, I want to pick one up, and
we should go over the rewards for everything real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So like for if you save Professor Warren Rice, you get that guy, and there you are. You get Dr. Francis Morgan if you save the guy at the Clever Club. Francis Morgan is pretty solid, +1 punch, and after you kill a guy, you can draw a card. And that guy's like a book, and after you discover the last remaining clue on location to draw a card. I think in general, Francis Morgan is a little bit more valuable than Warren Rice, because generally your book class is going to be yellow, and they're already great.
They don't need help with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think getting extra sanity out of an ally is more valuable than extra health, unless
I would agree with that.
Unless your name is Harrigan.
Yeah. Yeah, but like having more sanity in general.
Francis Morgan's effect is definitely better.
Yeah, he's there for the effect more so than his stats. You could take Warren Rice, but like you don't really want to give him to your goon, even though he's got more brains. Who's the person who's going to need that, right? So.
Yeah.
And then after you can take this Dr. Henry Armitage card.
Yeah, and after you draw
he's actually really good.
Yeah, after you draw a card, discard that card and exhaust him to gain 3 resources. Yeah, so it's just like, oh, I don't need this.
Yeah, like
bye.
It could be an emergency cash that I don't have to pay an action for.
Yeah, and he commits for like 2 wild cards. Yeah. The only real complaint I have is he takes up an ally slot.
Yeah, that's.
But like, he commits for 2 wilds, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
They'll throw him away for anything.
Cool. All right, so we'll see you for more Mythos packs reviews coming up right away.